morning, everyone. Salibonani, Linjani. Well, today is the International Women's Day, and as we all know, we are going to be talking about women. We're going to be talking about their rights. We're going to be talking about gender equality, feminism, patriarchy, and all sorts of that. And today I'm joined by wow with me today. And before I go any further, can you please introduce yourself, ma'am?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Araizo Jo. I'm the Deputy Director for the Women's Academy for Leadership and Political Excellence. Wow.
Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am Barreto. Well, as a woman in these leadership spaces and as a woman in these platforms, I really had some questions to ask about women's rights and feminism. Well, to start by saying, in the culture that we're living in, there are so many systems and ideologies that we are molded on. Things like has to do with the suppression of women, things that have to do with the women being marginalized. Our culture has cuddled patriarchy to a point that we get to say, even if there's GPV, you get to hear some other men saying, no, it's a matter of him and his wife, don't worry about it, but they do not actually address it as it is. So today, I want to understand what you actually, what people actually mean when they say culture cuddles patriarchy.
Okay, thank you. I would start by saying I think for me, this topic is a bit touchy, so I will try and keep my emotions in check. So when you see me going off rail, please just call me back to the discussion.
Okay.
Okay, so when people say culture cuddles patriarchy, in my own understanding, I want to believe they mean that people end up doing or suppressing women in the form of culture and hiding under culture. Because in our Shona culture, a woman is meant to be submissive. A woman's place is in the kitchen. A woman's place is to do the work around the house. So it is because of patriarchy that we end up seeing women as household commodities, as the household worker, being nothing more, nothing less. And to some extent, others have used culture as a scapegoat of practicing patriarchy and suppressing women in general. Yes.
Okay. So, as you were saying, I got to understand that culture is not something that is actually inherited. Culture is actually who you are at a certain period of time. Because I want to understand, before there were these mattresses, how did people mourn? There was a culture back then, So now people now want to inherit some other things of culture and say, a woman should submit, not because they are lovers of culture, but because they're just lovers of oppressing women and marginalizing black women. So, yeah, and also today when we see that, we get to understand that there are many restrictions on women, on how young women should address themselves, how young women should be, and how they should address it and all that. I want to understand, Kuti, how is it about, what do you understand by the restrictions between the young woman and the young man, like their freedom of speech and whatever?
Okay, I'll start by saying once you're born a woman, you're already 10-0. You're at 0 and the other gender is at 10.
Okay.
The society has never been easy on women. The society is harsh on women. They've got these restrictions and what you call it, expectations from women, where you see that growing up, I think it's now changing as it is moving with time. But I remember when my mom used to tell me about what used to happen in long ago. She used to say that in their days, if there was no money for kids to go to school, the boy child would be given preference to go to school. But I'm thinking that I'm seeing that things are changing a bit. Both girls and boys are getting a chance for equal education. However, in some societies, they're still restricting young women. And when we go to expressing ourselves as young women or young leaders or as feminists, people end up just labeling us as people that want to change culture, people that want to adopt
Yeah,
Western
yeah,
cultures, because I'm trying to express myself. We see that in our Shona culture, women are not really allowed to express how they feel when they're being abused. That's why we see people using patriarchy to suppress women when they're facing GBV. That's why we see people using patriarchy to suppress women when they face sexual harassment. So these are the things that happen, even in a workspace, because we're molded to think that us as women, we're responsible for taking care of everyone else. Let's say we're having a meeting. There's snacks to be served, there are refreshments to be served. You just see, you as a woman, your inclination is just telling you to just stand up and start serving people drinks and water and all of that. It's because of the socialization. And when you try and stand up, I remember at one point when I was working for this other organization, I won't say the name, I was actually the programs manager. But I had these young guys, these young men that were my subordinates.
Yes.
But people still expected me to serve tea during meetings. And then one day I simply asked, why am I serving tea when I'm a home manager, when I have these assistants that I can send? But just because they were men, I had to do it because I'm a woman. And the moment that I expressed that, I was told, hi, comrades, Nautura Western culture, this is, you're adopting things that are not as you just meant to do these things. So the moment you start questioning why people are oppressing women, you're labeled as someone who's rebellious. You're labeled as someone who's actually, the terms are really derogative terms, whereby you quote the B word, the H word, and showing up. No, they're just trying to be impossible. And others end up calling you that you're bitter. The moment you try and stand up for women and ask women to express themselves, we're being called bitter people. Because we're expressing and we're asking for what is rightfully ours. Because we're living in a society whereby women are expected to get 50-50 chances in everything, in leadership, in decision-making processes. So the moment you question why you're not getting the same opportunity as your fellow comrades, you're labeled rebellious, and people will not want to work with you.
Yeah, patriarchy has been taught at home. Like, people have been molded from home to say that as a woman, even if when we grew up, there's this other relative of mine that was abused at her marriage space, but she couldn't come home, and because they would, in the way they would say, no, finally you should be strong, even if you're being oppressed. So it gets to a point that women get to say, you know what, let me just be quiet, because even if I go back home, they will just say, Wadzoka marriage, like things like that, and now even the society is laughing at you. You cannot have someone anyway. But take for example, when a man dies, a woman has to wear some clothes for a black clothes for almost a year, saying that no, she's still mourning. And then when a woman dies, 2 months down the line, the party goes on. The man is there and he's told, no, who's going to take care of him? Why are you not allowing him to take another wife? It's such conditions that women have been subjected to a point that they have accepted all those abnormalities, and to say, you know what, let me just keep quiet and go with the flow. And also, again, there's this part of people saying, no, feminism is making women very cruel and bitter and all that. But feminism is an ideology. Patriarchy is a system. It's not about men, actually, because there are other women who are now outlets and bodies that transport patriarchy very successful. So people have to understand that when we are talking about feminism, we are actually not talking about women's rights per se. We're actually even considering because there are other men that are actually bothered by patriarchy. That's why you get to see that in the evening when he goes out, he's just carrying something to protect him, because he knows there's a man out there who's gonna hate him. You understand? So now as we continue talking about that, I felt like there's also this female and silence and apathy because of all these cultures cuddling patriarchy and all that. And I wanted to understand that as we are now living in a vast world, we're now using social media, so can they not use social media to actually express themselves? Has social media expanded women freedom, or has it simply exposed them to more risk?
Okay. I'll start by addressing the point whereby women cannot really express what they're going through. we were raised in a society whereby women were told to be strong. Women were told to shingirira their marriages and their abuse.
Yeah.
We have situations whereby someone would go back home, complain that they're being abused, but they're told to go back, fight for your marriage,
Yes.
stay there, that's your home. And we have people questioning women why they're being abused. So to some extent, women have resorted to just keeping quiet because they really do not have that support or that moral support that can blanket them to say, no, this is wrong. We don't have enough people questioning why women are being abused out there. So now there's that thing where people just say, no, I will not talk about it, I'll keep quiet.
Yeah.
It's just a few that are privileged to express themselves. There's just a few who know that I can actually stand up and speak for other women, or there are places or safe spaces for women where they can express themselves. You then spoke about social media. Social media could be used as a platform for women to express how they feel and address all the abuses that they're going through. But also, if not used correctly, social media can also be used as a tool to abuse women. So it then leads to the point that we need to teach young women, especially young women in general, young women in leadership, on the use of social media and how best they can protect themselves from cyberbullying, from all of that. Because we have seen women being dragged down on social media. We have seen social media being used as a tool to silence women. Where you see a prominent young woman who speaks up, later on you wake up, there are nude pictures that took with the lover that she said with her person are then posted out there just to humiliate her and to embarrass her. So yes, we can use social media as a tool to express, but there is also a need for young women to be taught on how best they can protect themselves from bullies and all the other harassment that goes on social media.
I really appreciate that. Social media also has some positive impact in our lives as women, because you get to a point whereby they say, okay, you hear about, oh, he raped someone from what party, raped a lady some 10, 15 years ago, and be like, oh my God, where were these guys at? But then you get to say, no, social media is now, like, it caught up with the social media, and now it can actually be discussed because it's no longer under the covers, you know. So again, social media has made life of women very difficult. You know, you post your picture there, you are told about how your boobs look like, how skinny you look like, how fat you look like. It is a challenge. Now you don't know even if you have to comment on those political issues or the social contradictions, or you just keep it to yourself, you know. So we have a lot of female apathy on so many issues, on leadership spaces, because now they're afraid, you know, as if I'm there, what if they say I'm like this? What if they don't like me? You know, when you wake up in the morning, you want to go out, you want to go into town. As women, like, it's like you have to ask yourself, is my hair looking good? Am I going to be okay? Like, is it going to be good? Because those are the kind of situations that and conditions that we are always subjected to. Yeah, so I really appreciate that. And also, I wanted to understand that maybe, for example, in our country, how can we say women have retired to self-censor, like being not being able to have that autonomy and self-determination? Like, have they retired to that, or can they still have some? Because I know we all have we are all subjected to social contradictions, but it's like it's a double weight upon women. So how do you understand that?
Well, I would say that in this generation that we're in right now, I feel women are standing up for themselves. I feel women are able to express, although they do meet challenges, although they do meet battles along the way, they have been able to stand up for themselves, and they're trying. They're trying to call out patriarchy. They're trying to call out abuse. They're trying to call out sexual harassment in each and every sphere. So I'm thinking, because of now that we have all these women organizations, the likes of WAUPE, we have maybe WICOS and all the others, they have been molding women and working with women to make them realize that they have the right to say what they think and how they want things to be done. So I would say women's voices have increased when you it comes to expressing themselves and demanding things that they want. It hasn't been a smooth ride. It has its ups and its downs. But I'm thinking, I would say women now have a voice. Women now have a chance, unlike in yesteryears where women did not even have an opportunity or a platform to express themselves or to be part of something meaningful. We do have you guys, the young women, we do have the likes of Anna Sandys
Yes.
who were able to be in parliament, yeah, although due to other things they were recalled. Do have the Joanna Mamombes taking lead in these spaces. We have likes of Namatai standing up for women's rights. We have the likes of Stability was standing up for women's rights and pushing for women empowerment in different leadership roles. So I would say yes, now it's a bit different. Women do have these platforms to express. Although to a lesser extent, we still have women that are being forced to keep quiet because of patriarchy. And we really cannot blame them. It's how they were socialized. You can't rub off something that someone was socialized with from birth. That a woman is not supposed to stand up and say when they're in a meeting, women are not able to be leaders. You can't really rub that off or teach someone that in a year to say, no, you were being taught the wrong things. This is the good. It takes time. So I'm thinking we're moving in the right direction.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, we are all subjected to these systems that deprive us of, because patriarchy doesn't actually work alone. It works with state control, it works with capitalism, it works with colonization, all of these things that we've been talking about, it's a naked terrorism. Like, it constitutes all the pain, all the oppression that we are actually subjected to. As we ponder on this issue, I want us to understand that. In fact, I want to ask one last question. Yeah, to say, in your own view, what do you think having a self society would look like for a young woman?
Okay, I would say, and also as I always tell people when I envision a self society, I envision a society that creates equal opportunities for men and women. I envision a society that fights barriers to women leadership. I envision a society that fights economic injustice. I envision a society whereby it's free of violence, it's free of harassment. I believe in a society whereby everyone is just equal before the law and being given equal opportunities to be themselves, to express themselves, or to lead. That's the society that I would say is safe.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Paraito. We are talking about a society that was named by Steve Biko an egalitarian society, to say an equal society, because 1,000 years back, patriarchy was molded when in leadership spaces men were saying no, a leader is someone who is muscular. So now, because men were just stronger than women, they took up those spaces. But now we're saying no, in these leadership spaces, we want competence. We want someone who's going to work for it. We want equal opportunities, because one can actually do it by ability, not just because you're a man. You understand? So as we just wrap up this, I just want to thank you, Walper, for joining us today, and also trying to ponder and elaborate what patriarchy actually looks like, and to also make people understand that we are not actually fighting against men, but we are also fighting for them, because now we are saying by feminism, we're saying it's a collective power. Like, let's come together, join hands, and try to fight all these injustices, all these systems that deprive us of our happiness in life. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.